The first shots were not heard, they were felt. On February 28, 2026, a switch was flipped. A joint United States-Israeli military action began. Its name was Operation Epic Fury. For the Israelis, it was Operation Roaring Lion. The operation targeted key Iranian military infrastructure. It included the headquarters of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps' cyber and intelligence units. But the most significant target was a convoy in Tehran. Using a vast network of compromised city traffic cameras, a precision strike killed Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The attack was swift, precise, devastating. It demonstrated a new level of intelligence fusion, blurring the line between digital access. Physical destruction. The response from Iran was almost immediate. It was with data packets and malicious code. Within hours, the country's own connection to the outside world was severed. Internet connectivity across Iran plummeted. It dropped to between 1% and 4% of its normal capacity. The digital blackout was a way to control the internal narrative. It was also a way to mask the mobilization of a vast, decentralized army of cyber warriors. The quiet before the digital counteroffensive began. This single day marked a turning point. It was the moment a regional shadow war exploded into a trans-regional conflict. The strikes by the United States and Israel were designed to decapitate, disable. They were meant to surgically remove key nodes of the Iranian regime's power structure. The planners believed this would limit escalation. They were wrong. Operation Epic Fury triggered a multi-vector retaliatory campaign. This campaign would not be fought on a traditional battlefield. It would be fought across global networks, in corporate boardrooms, inside civilian hospitals. The war came home to America not with a bomb, but with a network alert. The target was Stryker, a Fortune 500 medical device company in Michigan. It was a name known in hospitals, not in war rooms. U.S. officials later called it likely the most damaging wartime cyber attack in U.S. history. A calculated strike against critical civilian infrastructure. To prove Iran's reach extended deep into the American heartland. To make the conflict feel personal and immediate. There was no distinction between the front line and the home front. Responsibility was quickly claimed by Handala Haq, an operational unit of Iran's Ministry of Intelligence and Security, framing it as direct retaliation. They cited the Minab Elementary School incident, a retaliatory strike that reportedly killed 160 children, linking the digital assault to a physical tragedy, justifying the targeting of a healthcare company. The technical execution was sophisticated and insidious. It was a no-malware attack. They weaponized a legitimate tool used by corporations everywhere, Microsoft Intune. The lines between the physical and digital worlds dissolved in early March 2026. The conflict entered a new hybrid phase. Iran's retaliation would not be confined to cyberspace. Iranian drones struck Amazon Web Services data centers, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain. Not military targets in the traditional sense. The physical heart of the region's digital economy. They housed data. They housed processing power. They housed countless businesses. They housed government services. They housed personal applications. A direct assault on the infrastructure of modern life. The morning after, millions woke up. Dubai, Abu Dhabi, to a world that had stopped working. Digital lives locked down. Ride-sharing apps couldn't hail taxis. Food delivery services offline. Mobile banking apps couldn't connect. A few struck buildings triggered cascading digital failures across society. A stark illustration of our dependence on centralized cloud infrastructure. Physical and cyber convergence defined the conflict. Neutrality was not an option. By hosting data, tech companies became critical infrastructure and part of the battlefield. Protecting against a hacker, one challenge. Protecting a sprawling data center from a drone strike, another entirely. The 2026 conflict was not just fought with new tactics, it was fought with new intelligence. Artificial intelligence was no longer a theoretical concept in warfare. Deployed, effective, and dangerous. These tools automated and accelerated the entire attack lifecycle. AI was used to scan corporate networks for vulnerabilities, identify key personnel for targeting, craft convincing phishing messages on a massive scale. One report found that over 82% of phishing emails in the conflict contained AI-generated elements. Attackers began using AI to create more adaptive and evasive malware. Experimental families used language model components to change behavior during an attack. Now defenders faced an adversary that could think and adapt on the fly. Why bother with malware when you can simply log in as an administrator and issue commands? The Iran conflict blew open a Pandora's box of AI-powered cyber warfare. No firewall was expensive enough, and no training program comprehensive enough to stop what was coming. On the Iranian side, 4 key entities stood out: Handala Hack, Muddy Water, Sakari, Hydra C2. Together they formed a multi-layered offensive force, combining state-sponsored sophistication with the brutal efficiency of cybercriminal operations. Handala's operations focused on critical infrastructure and psychological impact. The 2026 cyber war was not a simple bilateral conflict. No-name 05716 joined forces with Iranian hacktivists, expanding scope and capability. Joint attacks targeted defense and municipal organizations. Claims included water management and industrial control systems. A mature cybercriminal ecosystem enabled rapid force multiplication and complicated attribution. Attackers exploited vulnerabilities in VPNs, Microsoft Exchange, and everyday tech. Alongside the war on servers, a second war was being fought, a war for the mind. Old-school deception mixed with cutting-edge AI to shape perception, incite unrest, and sow confusion. Researchers found evidence suggesting Israel ran a sophisticated disinformation campaign to foment revolt in Iran. Hyper-realistic images of prison bombings spread via fake accounts. Iran-linked groups used fake mobile apps to steal contacts, SMS, and real-time GPS, turning trust into vulnerability. Deepfakes and AI text floods created the illusion of consensus and eroded shared reality. The cyber war was not abstract. Its effects disrupted daily lives across borders. Hospitals became recurring targets, surgeries delayed, patients diverted, lives at risk. Attacks on Jordanian fuel systems caused shortages and long lines. Over 1,100 ships reported GPS AIS issues. Spoofing raised collision risks, disrupting oil and gas flows. Strikes on AWS didn't just affect local firms. Any company relying on those servers felt shockwaves. In a networked world, there is no contained cyber war. Ripple effects travel at the speed of light, and everyone is downstream. The secondary effects often outpace the initial blows, an anatomy of systemic risk. And the lines between civilian life and the battlefield vanished. The mind, the market, the machine, each became a front. The cyber war of 2026 was a brutal awakening. It was a conflict fought with AI-powered tools on a hybrid digital-physical battlefield by a coalition of state actors and non-state actors. The events of February and March 2026 leave us with urgent, non-negotiable tasks. We must acknowledge the new reality and prepare for conflicts like this to recur. First, shift from prevention to resilience. No defense is impenetrable. Attackers will get in. Detect quickly, respond effectively, recover robustly. Invest in national and corporate resilience plans. Critical infrastructure needs tested offline backups, so do hospitals and energy grids. Practice for failure, not just success. Resilience is the new security benchmark. Second, threat intelligence sharing must be faster and comprehensive. Attackers share in real time. Defenders must mirror that. Build rapid cross-border mechanisms. Reduce the lag from days to minutes. Overcome legal, bureaucratic, and competitive hurdles. Collective defense is the only effective defense. Finally, confront governance of these new weapons. AI propaganda, weaponized cloud tools, targeting civilian infrastructure. Establish clear red lines, especially around hospitals, and consequences for those who cross them. Develop public communication plans to counter AI-driven disinformation.